to Facebook Live, facebook.com/livenowdt, and YouTube Live on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as we are here inside of Progressive Dental's location in Endwell, New York on 565 Hooper Road, and we appreciate you being here. This is our first ever broadcast on location of Sonny and D, Sonny Spera, myself, Dan Tortora, Maine Endwell's football program, and Maine Endwell in and of itself as a high school is our first ever feature. We just had Matt Gallagher here, the football coach, and now we have quarterback Mike Mancini, and we have running back Jordan Owens, and of course Sonny and I. And so Sonny and I will tackle some questions here to both of these gentlemen, and at the end of it, we will both be put on the hot seat and put them on the hot seat. So you saw how Coach did. We'll let you run from here, Sonny. I'll let you start things off.
All right, so let's start out. Michael, your senior year, and in reflecting back and looking back on when you started this journey on the varsity level with football, what were some of your expectations as a freshman, and what are some of your expectations now as a senior?
Well, like Coach G said last, it's always a state championship. You know, we always want to win. Every week we want to win that game. But, freshman year I got to play with my brother. He was the quarterback as a senior, and nothing would have been more perfect than to win a state championship with him. But honestly, I can't remember a year when I'm like, I don't want to. I mean, who wouldn't want to win a state championship? So every single year has been the goal is to win a state championship.
So now senior year, you're the guy, you're the quarterback. Have you had to prepare differently because maybe more of the leadership roles thrust upon you? Talk a little bit about how you got to handle that.
I'm coming in a lot more angry. I've been on the football program for 3 years, and when I think of Maine Endwell football, I think of a state championship. I mean, Kyle Gallagher is one of our coaches, and he's never lost a football game. So he throws the comments out there. I never lost as a quarterback. So, but this year, yeah, no, you're not kidding. So this year I'm coming in a lot more, angrier, a lot more passionate, and I don't want to win a game by less than 10 points. Honestly, I want to blow out every team, and I want to be on the sideline rooting on the other guys and just having a blast along the way.
Super.
Jordan, you hear that. You hear your quarterback say, not only does he want to win, but he doesn't want to win by any less than double digits. What are your thoughts going in, and are you angry this season?
Yes, of course. I think that's a great mentality to stand by. Wanting to win by double digits every game, I think that's definitely something our team can manage this season, and definitely something to look forward to.
What can you say about leadership coming from yourself this year as you step into the season, and coming from Mike? How would you describe Mike as a leader, and how would you describe yourself?
I think Mike is a great leader. Definitely the perfect fit for quarterback, leadership wise. And myself, I definitely have to step into a bigger role as a leader this year. Not really as much of a I needed to be a leader last year. Now this year I would have to be much more of a leader on the field.
You said Mike is a perfect leader. Why?
Just the mentality, pushing guys around him. I mean, he's been the quarterback since midway through his sophomore year. So just pushing guys in the weight room, on the field, never fooling around. I think that's just always pushing guys around him, and just being very vocal, and he's a very vocal guy. Definitely, and that's just a big quality of being a leader.
I've known him since he was born, so I have to be careful. It's how much you want to talk. I will say one thing. I don't know if you're aware, Dan. These two guys are both part of the championship Little League team, so they have experienced that on a national level.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I'm going to commend you, Michael, and Jordan as well, was how you guys handle yourself in the moment. Sportsmanship award, I think, is not to be underplayed, and I think that you guys have always done it the right way, and I think that's a huge part of it. And I think Coach Gallagher is a tremendous role model, leader, sets the bar, and you guys, that's just in your DNA. So talk a little bit about this season. What are some of the things that you'd like to see out of yourself?
Out of myself would definitely be to become more of a leader. I know last year we had, Ryan Brosvik was probably one of the biggest leaders that we had on our team. Year before, we had guys that, I was looking up to and listening to, and now as a senior, kind of that title senior, you got to be the big guy. There's going to be a lot of guys looking up to you. And from when I was a ball boy watching Kyle, like the stuff that he said to the younger guys or even the things that he absorbed, he never was, I'm the senior, this is how it goes. He listened to everything, but he showed by example. He didn't have to open his mouth a lot. He went out on the field and, if he made a bad mistake, he was going to make a double great, bigger play, I should say. I'm trying to use the same word. But the biggest thing I want to do is lead by example. So if there's a play that breaks down and there's a lot of chaos, I want to just calm it down. And I want the guys to believe in me and the guys to say, we got this. Mike's here. Let's do it.
Where do you feel the most comfortable? You feel comfortable in the pocket. You feel comfortable on the run. You feel comfortable, on the outside. Talk a little bit about some of your comfortable areas in the backfield. Honestly,
I feel more comfortable when I don't have to think. That's what's great about, my dad always said, you're an athlete, don't think. Right. So, when I'm a quarterback, the best thing about it is we have a triple option. You don't get enough time to think. You have to, first off, you got to get the ball in Jordan's arms, and then you got to read the end or whoever's coming at you. You got to read if there's a blitz coming from the cornerback, the safety. So you don't got a lot of time to think. It's just reaction. It's instinct. And that's the big thing that Coach G harped on last year was do what your gut says, do what your instinct says. It might be wrong, but if it's your instinct, it's 9 times out of 10 it's going to be right, which I totally agree with.
Now, just to switch tracks just for 1 second. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. Baseball, you're a high-level recruit. Have you made a decision about what your future looks like for baseball?
Yeah, I'm actually, I verbally committed to JMU to play baseball.
That's awesome. Okay, thanks.
So, congratulations.
That's not a scoop, but I just wanted to ask him that question. I'm pretty sure that's where it was.
So, the triple option. I know all about this from Ken Niumatalolo at Navy, and have spent a lot of time with my favorite name of college football, which is Ken's last name. So, Jordan, what are your thoughts on being a part of the triple option, knowing that in the world so few people run it beautifully, so many people, so it's orchestrating it to a T and making it really just function, and you have to have the right people and the right system, and Navy had it with Paul Johnson, he brought it to Georgia Tech, Ken Niumatalolo's continued it. What do you think about it?
Personally, I love the triple option because it's like repetitive, and it's like we were talking about earlier with when people know your stuff, but they just have to stop it. Like a lot of our games last year, we didn't score much in the first quarter a lot, and then as the game goes on, running the same thing over and over again, you tire them out. It's hard to stop. Triple option hard to stop. Yeah.
Do you think there's any disadvantages to having it?
A disadvantage that, like you said, yeah, that's a good idea. The mesh fumbles. We had a few of those last year. And that's definitely, I guess that would be that was pretty much our only disadvantage, yeah. And besides the fact that people know us, and I guess, yeah, and fumbles. So there, I can't really talk about disadvantages because I look at all the good things. But
You can't, because your coach is sitting right there.
Yeah. I don't know what to say.
Mike, what can you say about the triple option and what you think as a quarterback?
I love it because the ball is always in my hands. I'm also a quarterback, but I am the one that gets to make the decision. So if the end steps down, it's a pull. If the end steps back, it's a give. And I'm really in control. And I kind of honestly love being in control and being able to make all the decisions, whether it's right or wrong. It's on my shoulders all the time.
And Sonny brought it up, the Little League national stage champions. To me, it feels like it happened like 2 years ago. And I will actually say this that I wanted to and I did reach out way back when the whole country was reaching out, I'm sure. But I was like, I'd come down to Endwell, and I had been here for so many years back and forth, and I was like, you know what? The whole nation's reaching out, but I'm right here, and I wanted to tell the story, but I wanted to tell the story from the angle of like I actually knew the area before everybody else looked at the area. So I never got to do it. God works in mysterious ways. So tell me about that run. I'll start with you, Mike.
Jeez, that run was, it wasn't what you expected. I mean, going into that year, we've, as a group, I think we had 11 or 12 guys on the team. All 11 or 12 of those guys on that team were playing with each other at a young age. So when we were 3 years old, we were playing t-ball together, football together. We were always together. So we knew as soon as this big year of, the Williamsport Run is what we called it, we knew that we had so much in common, so much chemistry. We knew that it was going to be a great year. We knew that we were going to go far because the year prior we lost in regionals to the Redland team. And going back to anger, I mean, you lose on ESPN in the semifinals, you're angry. And you get one more year at it, a little redemption, and you want to go as far as you possibly can. And the work that we put in was incredible, and it paid off in the end.
When the entire country and people all over the world are paying attention to you, how did you, as a little kid, how do you handle that? And what did you think of all that?
Honestly, it was greater that we played at 12 years old because we didn't know what was going on. I mean, yeah, you look around, but you really only see like your mom and dad up in the stands. I had my dad as a third base coach. You really, you only see the guys in the dugout, and it's funny. Like you do look up in the stands, you see 20,000 people, but the only ones that stick out is like my brother, my friend from back home, and my mom and dad. And you're like, it doesn't really seem like this guy's flew down here to come watch us play. It just felt like any old other game,
Jordan, your thoughts on the run?
The biggest thing I remember was right after we lost Redland regionals the year before. I remember like we knew what to expect. Like we practiced with the team that some of the guys that we knew were going to be on the team returning next year. That same summer we lost. Later we would go down to RBI and hit. Like we practiced prior to the next baseball team with the same guys. And then when All-Star season came around, I remember two-a-day practices and a lot of I remember biggest thing was hard work, just a lot of work and we knew what to expect coming up. That's the biggest thing I remember is all that.
You put the state of New York, Maine Endwell, and Endwell on the map. To put all of that on the map and do it when you're 12, what does that mean to you in history, that you'll always be a champion and you're the reason why the world was looking in this backyard?
Yeah, it means a lot because I remember thinking how much the state championships in football, the state championship run, put Endwell on the map, and then for us to win a World Series to put us back, to keep us on the map. Yeah, it means a lot.
Yeah, I guess the world has to get to know Endwell.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sonny.
Okay, so with this season coming up, Shenango Forks, we talked a little bit about the rivalry. Talk about some of the challenges that game presents in that team, because I know they have a slightly similar system, right? And run a lot of similar, looks. What are some of the things going? Now, you don't have to give away game plan, and I can do that, but talk about some of the challenges that you have walking into that game.
The first challenge that really presents itself is they are a very disciplined football team. And with the triple option, you're reading, three core guys. There's not really, anybody else that you're reading. There's three guys. And with that being said, they are disciplined. So their end, he's either going to stay back or he's going to come down every single time. And they're going to bring guys from, all other areas, but they're not going to try and make the overachiever tackle. They're going to keep it simple. They're going to do what they need to do and what they believe they need to do. And they're going to try and, like Coach G said, we got 8 plays. They're going to say we got 2 plays on defense that we're going to keep running. Let's see what you guys can do. And that's the best part about it is it's what are you going to do with what we have? And I think that's the greatest thing about this rivalry. It's not, nobody's running, a bunch of trick plays to try and fool the other guys. It's, you come in this formation, you're running this play. Let's see who can stop who is really how it goes. And that's why this rivalry is what it is.
So nobody's running the annexation of Puerto Rico? No, nobody? Okay. Go ahead.
I like that.
A little Giants reference. That's right.
Yeah. So we've heard Coach talk about his experience and how he sees Maine Endwell and everything. How would you, and I'm going to ask you both this, Jordan, I'll start with you. How would you describe Coach Matt Gallagher on and off the field?
What I would use is dedicated, 100%.
Look him in the eye when you say it.
I mean, I could talk about a lot. As soon as season ends, 2 weeks later, not even, we're in the weight room with pretty much the whole team. Year round, like football for us, for not other people around here, but for our team is pretty much a year round thing. Like we do a lot in the off season, we work hard. So I think there's like dedication is definitely the word to describe his mentality, and I think he builds the culture that we all are a part of. Like, the big like the mentality, like to get just like work harder, keep working harder, and then like the reason we have such high expectations starts with him, I think, because just like the things he has us do, all the like the nonstop work he puts into the program, and just things we do all year round to just keep moving, and that's what gives us those high expectations states every year.
Mike, how would you describe Coach?
There's a lot you could describe about Coach. You know, the first thing that comes to my mind is, you know, like Jordan said, just dedicated. You know, there's times where, you know, like Jordan, you know, a week after we lose the sectional championship, we're getting in the weight room, and you can't say no. You're not going to say no. And if you do say no, he's going to be harping on you, because he knows that, you know, to be successful, you have to work at it. And, you know, he's the type of coach that if there's a person you want to win for, it's him. You know, he's gonna say, you know, he's gonna plan out something, and he's gonna put it on us to go out and get it. And I think everyone on our team will say, no matter what he says, it could be, you know, some of the silliest things you've ever heard, and you're like, I'm gonna do it, and you're like, I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm doing it, and it's for him. And you know, it's crazy. You know, he's not just a football coach. You know, after football's over, did you turn in your homework? I see it's late. I saw you missed the class. Well, what happened? You know, I had a dentist appointment. They didn't turn in yet. But he's on you about everything, and you know, it's honestly like a second father. You know, we had a flood, you know, a while back, and Coach G was the first. Right after the flood happened, the first text I got. Anybody need help? We're all there. So that's the kind of guy he is. He isn't just a football coach, and anybody that knows him, you know, knows that. And that's kind of the greatest thing about Coach Gallagher.
Well, I'm going to say great leader. I know Matt too, so it's a little unfair, but great leaders, like Matt's a great leader. And his intensity level and his dedication, they go hand in hand, and you got to match it. He's going to bring his A game, you got to bring your A+ game. So that's, to me, a great leader. Sets the bar really, really high, and you elevate your game, you know?
So that brings us to rapid fire. So you guys know what I look like with Coach, and before we get the other two gentlemen on here, you guys get a couple to us, and we get a couple to you. So we'll do what we did last time. So Sonny will ask someone, and then you'll ask him back, and that's how we'll look at this. So Sonny, I'll let you start. You get to ask to both of these gentlemen, so whoever you want to start with.
Okay. Michael, we know that you like swagger. We know you like the Old Spice thing. We're going to go back, but I'm just going to pass on that. So let's talk about, we're going to start with food. Favorite meal? Go.
Lasagna.
Whose?
My mom's.
Of
My mom's
course.
lasagna. Yeah, it was.
There's no other choice.
There's no choice. You can't choose it. It's funny, if you go back and look on the League World Series, it says favorite food. It is still lasagna. I love my mom's lasagna.
There you go.
That'll be my birthday meal.
That's right.
Okay, your first one for Sonny.
My first question.
Yeah.
Let's see here. A trip to anywhere in the world. Where are you going?
Anywhere in the world?
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world is going to be in Italy. And at this point, I would probably pick a place that I haven't been there yet.
Okay.
So, I've never been to the Amalfi area, and that seems to be like a cool jet set area. So we would try that.
All right, Sonny, now, before I ask them, I'll let you go to Jordan now.
Jordan, okay. I'm not going to ask you a food question. We'll let Dan handle food. All right, if you had the ability to go back in time, where would you go?
Like some point in my life, just go back in time.
Anytime. You can go back to 2000 BC. It doesn't matter. Anytime in.
Okay.
Go fight woolly mammoths and stuff.
You want to hang out with Joe DiMaggio, whatever.
Ooh.
Where would you want to go?
To go back in time. Oh, I gotta think about this one.
Coach just said he would go back when he had hair. It's amazing.
I wasn't there for those days, I don't think.
Shaboom!
I'm too young for those days. But, I would go. I would. I would go back in time. Well, like all the things we learn about from like back in time, like are like all like the bad situations and like all the things I had, like like in social studies we're gonna learn about like. So like I don't want to like travel to those times, Like I want to be in a good situation. I want to be in a good spot. That's a good point. Yeah. That's what's hard. But like to see it, I would want to travel back in time. This is very fire. I'll travel back in time to. I want to see like some old school like football. Like I want to travel back in time to the first Super Bowl.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. Watch the Pack play. Or like maybe the third because I'm a Jets fan.
Might be the only one you'll ever see.
Yeah. I hope not. It's looking like it right now. So. But
I do like Zach Wilson though. All right, you got one for Sonny now.
I want to go back to your days then. Let's go. The craziest moment. Did you play all three sports?
I played two.
Basketball and
baseball.
I just want to like a craziest moment in high school. Something sport related.
Craziest moment in high school sports. I don't talk about myself. So let's say biggest moment probably for us. Biggest high school moment I would say was as a junior. We played in a state championship at I don't know if it was Glens Falls or Rochester. You get older, a little fight basketball, yeah. And we lost to Ward Melville, blowing a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. But that's another story. But I've really gotten over it. But we lost a state championship, and being at that level, like you guys Coach talked about, right? Getting the sectionals and then getting out of sectionals. That was the first time that we'd ever experienced that at our high school. So that was probably one of the biggest moments and probably one of the bigger disappointments too.
All right, so I'll ask my first one to you, Jordan. Well, Sonny's done food before. I'll go with food here. You're on death row. What's the meal you're having?
Food for me, my favorite. I eat a lot of. I'm at Moe's at Chipotle every day. So.
As a card-carrying Italian and Hispanic, I don't want you to ask me which one is more authentic between Moe's and Chipotle.
So if I'm on death row, honestly, death row is different. But if I were to pick a meal like right now, I just have a Chipotle bowl, Okay. But I don't know if it's my death row meal, but that's the best thing to get.
Okay. What's your first one for me?
My first one is, what is the craziest interview you've had?
Crazy how?
Just funniest.
Funniest interview.
Funny interviews or no?
Have I had a? I mean, yeah. There's people that joke around, but I'm trying to think. Funny interviews. I've had. There's some I could talk about off the air with Sonny, but there's some people that I guess you just wonder where they're going. Because they just and my job is to always lasso and bring you back, and I trust that I can do that. But some people just go way out into the wild west, and you try to. But I don't know, funny. I guess I would say. This wasn't really an interview, but I had one of my buddies sitting in the studio, and there was the video that was circulating, and I'm sorry, folks, to talk about this, but when Tom Brady kissed his 12-year-old son, but in such a weird way. And I showed the video on my show, and for an hour, we just laughed, and I was telling jokes about it, and I said, because I'm single, I said, I hope to one day have the intimacy and connection with my girlfriend that he has with his 12-year-old son. So that was probably the one that I had to mention, but because I laughed a lot that day. All right, Mike. So when I think about Little League World Series, I think it brings me back to growing up and watching The Sandlot.
Yeah.
It just brings me back to that day. Do you have a Sandlot moment? And if you do, what is it?
Wow. Sandlot moment. Yeah, I mean, we have had, we've played, Sandlot, geez. I guess, like, our Little League team, we've played, like, I know that they always go out and play baseball in their backyard baseball, and then there's that big dog. We've played under the lights down at the Little League Struble Field, and we actually turned the lights on ourselves, which I don't think you're supposed to do. But we did do that, and we did hear this loud like animal like noise, and for like 20 minutes we were kind of trying to hear it again, but we never heard it. But I guess when you say Sandlot, that's kind of what I think of.
Yeah.
They got to go get the baseball from the dog.
It was a coyote.
Yeah, probably.
That's fine. What's your first one for me?
Why did you get into broadcasting?
Since I was little, my dad, you guys may not know what this is, but the word processor, which was a typewriter that had a screen on it, a little tiny screen, and I actually have it in my office at home because to me it's to remember where I started. And so I would pick it up. It was so heavy, way more than I did. And my dad would put it on the kitchen table, and we would open it up, and I'd type, and I could see what I was writing there. And I would write short stories when I was 5. And I just always loved being a storyteller, and so I've written over 40 songs. I've written short stories. I've done screenwriting stuff. I kind of did what I would do in the world of like Marvel way before the MCU with Spider-Man. I wrote like my own, this is how I would do it, and got 88 pages into that and whatnot. So I just, whether it's stand-up comedy, screenwriting, music, I love to tell a story. And I love to tell other people's stories. And Sonny and I met in just like, hey, I want to talk to as many alumni as I can. I'd love to tell your story. And you just build these relationships, you build these bonds, and then you end up becoming like family just from having somebody on for 15 minutes. So I think what I do has made my world so tiny, and it's put me around so many amazing people. So when people say the world is a bad place, not my world. It's different. All right, Sonny, your final go around with these guys. Do you have something for them? Anything?
Second question.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna throw back the same question that you asked me. You can go anywhere in the world. Where would you go, Michael?
I was not expecting to get asked that question. My grandparents did go to Italy. I'm not sure where. I don't know the names of anything, but they did go to Italy last year, and she loved it. She said she wanted us to go next time. But anywhere in the world, I'd like to go to the Bahamas, Nassau. I'd love to go there.
All right, what's your last one for Sonny?
Oh, my question. Ooh. Jeez. Let's see here. Toughest sports moment. Not losing the state championship.
Toughest sports moment.
That turned into like a I don't want to use too like a life, like a life moment.
Probably the toughest moment for me personally was when Pearl Washington commits to Syracuse, right? So here's the biggest recruit we've ever had. This is the Bright Lights big city. This is a rock star coming, and it's my position, right? So I was a backup, so I had to change everything. I had to play a different position. I had to change my outlook. I had to change my approach. and I had to really step Sonny back and make sure that my team is in front of me. So that's a hard thing to do when you're 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
All right, fine. I'll go around with Jordan for you, Sonny.
Okay, Jordan. All right. What car would you want to drive if you had any car on the planet? Price is no object. Someone's going to gift it to you just because they like it. What car would you have?
Some type of Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
Sure.
Okay, what color?
Yeah, well, red.
Red
Or
Yeah.
Ferrari, red.
or Ferrari?
Sure,
Let's-
like in red, yeah.
Okay, Lamborghini, Ferrari.
Yeah.
You count the both tank? Or, okay, Lamborghini.
Okay, what's your last one for Sonny?
I gotta think of one. He said he doesn't like to talk about himself, so I think I'm gonna make him talk about himself. But did you play in college? Where did you play?
Played at Syracuse.
Oh, right. Okay, I knew that. We talk about biggest game, maybe. Biggest game in college.
Biggest game in college for me. Probably my biggest game back then when things were on the weekends, like CBS Sports and those kind of games, right? So when you were on that, because you were on national TV now, you weren't just regional. So I would have to say probably when we played Houston and the Phi Slamma Jamma and Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler and that whole crew, and you know that moment and beating them, and they were unstoppable, but they got beat Syracuse, so that was it.
Yeah, I believe Houston's only played twice against Syracuse. They won this last one, and then you beat them the other time. So my final one for Jordan. One song that you have to listen to on repeat for the rest of your life. What song do you choose?
One song on repeat. I'm trying to think of like a song that like means something. Oof.
Literally anything.
I gotta think of big songs. I need help.
Okay, D.
I need help.
What's the last song you listened to?
Well, I don't know.
Who's your
I
favorite?
think of something like Drake. I like Drake.
Okay, so you like Drake.
Yeah.
So I like Drake too. There's a ton that you can choose from.
Maybe like maybe Energy. You know that song or not?
You know Energy very well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, we'll go with Energy.
Older songs.
All right. What's your last one for me?
He asked why you did it. Why you went to
Yeah.
Marcus, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask why you did this today.
Why I did this today?
Yeah. What gave you the idea?
Well, I started 4 years ago, maybe a little over 4 years ago, with some of the schools up north. And I built a template. And in building that template, I was able to go to a bunch of different high schools. And then I called Sonny and I said, I want to do something with the Southern Tier. And this means a lot to Sonny. And so Sonny has a lot of connections down here and a lot of places and people that he gets to talk to. And I just thought, if we can help out the Southern Tier, all the schools in the area, I get to do something that I've been doing that I love, and I get to reach out to more student athletes and to places I haven't been. We get to go to Sonny's backyard, and we get to promote, what I think Sonny's doing great with outside of everything he's done in sports with Progressive Dental. Why not bring them all together and do that? And, Sonny's an awesome person to work with, and the Southern Tier. There was something about jumping in the car today going, I finally get to go down the Southern Tier and do this. Like bringing Wake Up Call to the Southern Tier. That's fun. So I'm excited, and I think it's awesome. And it's funny because the grandpa that I talk about, he literally lived right up this hill. Like I could walk to Progressive from where he was. So I know that somewhere up there, I hope I hope he's enjoying it. I know he enjoyed the question of my favorite section 4, so I know that he appreciated that. All right. So, all right, Mike, my final one for you. I want to go celebrity crush.
Celebrity crush.
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
You said you would have had that in your head instantly? Okay.
I'm sure I know what you're thinking of. Are you thinking of Sarah Cameron?
No.
No,
That's
no.
a good one, though.
We're gonna go there. I'm into blondes, so I'd probably go with Sarah Cameron.
Okay.
The, OBX.
Okay.
Outer Banks movie.
Okay. Fair enough. What's your last one for me?
My question for you is, past or present? Now we're going back to, as far as, where it started. Who is one person that you would want to sit down and share their story or hear their story, just in a like this environment? Just who is one person?
Well, I got to talk to the big 3. I'll call them the big 3. I got to talk to 2 of them. So, Floyd Little, Jim Brown. Floyd, never in a billion years, never, ever, ever. If somebody said to me, you're going to be friends with Floyd Little for like 8 years before he had passed, and you're going to get to sit with him, and he's going to do a video for your grandmother for her 100th birthday, and like Floyd to me was always like talking. It was like a Christmas Carol. It was like talking to a ghost. It was like he didn't exist. It's like, how am I shaking this guy's hand? How are we sitting together? Because he was just larger than life. So Jim and Floyd wearing 44, if I could sit down with somebody else, and I hope that God gives me a microphone in heaven in 100 years, but I'd love to talk to Ernie Davis because he's the only one I haven't yet, because he passed away when he was 23 of leukemia. So with that being said, there's so much we put into this, and we have more, so hopefully we can get that in here at Progressive Dental. We're at the Endwell location. It is Sonny D, Sonny Spera, myself, Dan Tortora, Mike Mancini, the quarterback of your Maine Endwell team this season, and running back Jordan Owens. You guys did an awesome job. Thank you. We appreciate it. And we will be back with our final 2 guests right after this. So stay on Facebook and stay on YouTube.
Thanks, guys.